Before you begin, take a deep breath and allow yourself to become completely still. Forget what happened yesterday. Forget what is worrying you about tomorrow. For the next few moments, turn your attention inward, because there is a part of your mind that has been listening to every word you have ever spoken to yourself. Your subconscious has heard your fears. It has heard your doubts. It has heard every time you said, I can't, it's impossible, nothing ever works for me, or maybe I'm not good enough. But here is the powerful truth. You can choose a new story. You can choose new thoughts. You can choose new assumptions. You can impress a new vision upon your subconscious mind and begin living from it. What if the life you desire does not begin with changing everything around you? What if it begins with changing what you repeatedly accept within you? Today, you are going to learn how to stop allowing fear and old circumstances to control your inner world. You are going to practice becoming the person who thinks differently, feels differently, and expects differently. So close your eyes if you can. Take another slow breath and imagine that the life you desire is already becoming real. Feel the peace, feel the confidence, feel the relief, feel the gratitude. Do not ask, how will it happen? For now, simply experience the feeling of already being where you want to be. Your subconscious is listening, and from this moment forward, give it a new message. I am capable. I am worthy. I am abundant. I am confident. I am open to beautiful possibilities. My inner world is becoming a reflection of the life I choose. This is your opportunity to take back your attention, reshape your assumptions, and consciously choose the reality you want to move toward. So relax, listen deeply, and allow these words to become a new impression within you. Your subconscious mind is constantly receiving impressions from the thoughts you repeat, the emotions you nurture, the conversations you have with yourself, and the images you repeatedly carry within your imagination. Whether you realize it or not, you are always teaching your inner mind what to expect from life. The question is not whether you are impressing your subconscious, but asterisk, what are you impressing upon it? If you repeatedly tell yourself that you are unlucky, unsuccessful, unwanted, or incapable, those ideas can become familiar patterns. But the same principle can be used in a constructive direction. You can begin impressing your mind with confidence, abundance, love, peace, and possibility. Think about the thoughts you automatically have when you wake up. Do you immediately remember your problems? Do you worry about money, relationships, work, or the future? Do you replay old conversations and disappointments? If you repeatedly begin your day this way, you are giving your subconscious the same emotional instructions again and again. Instead, make your first thoughts intentional. Before looking at your circumstances, remind yourself of the person you choose to become. Say, asterisk, I am confident, I am worthy, I am capable, I am open to abundance. Beautiful possibilities are available to me. The key is not merely repeating words without feeling. Allow yourself to experience the meaning behind them. If you say, I am abundant, imagine what abundance would feel like. Perhaps it feels like relief, security, gratitude, freedom, or peace. If you say, I am loved, feel the warmth and safety that would accompany being deeply valued. If you say, I am successful, imagine the calm confidence of knowing that your efforts are producing meaningful results. The emotional experience makes the idea more vivid and memorable. Your imagination gives you another powerful way to impress the subconscious. Close your eyes and create a short mental scene that implies your desire has already been fulfilled. See yourself receiving congratulations. Imagine looking at your life with gratitude. Hear yourself saying, asterisk, I am so grateful that everything worked out. Keep the scene simple and return to it repeatedly. Do not become discouraged when old thoughts appear. They are familiar patterns, and familiar patterns may take time to change. When you notice an old belief, simply choose again. You can say, asterisk, that is an old assumption. I am creating a new one. Then return to your chosen thought. Remember, you are constantly becoming familiar with something. Make that something empowering. Feed your mind thoughts that support the life you want to experience. Repeat them with feeling. Imagine them with clarity. Return to them consistently. Over time, what once felt unfamiliar can begin to feel natural. And when your inner assumptions change, the way you approach your decisions, opportunities, relationships, and challenges can change with them. So today, be intentional about what you impress upon your subconscious. Give it a vision of confidence. Give it a feeling of abundance. Give it an expectation of possibility. And repeat that message until it becomes a natural part of who you are. Every day, you are living from a particular state of mind, whether you consciously choose it or not. A state is the emotional and mental position from which you experience yourself and the world around you. You may live from confidence, fear, abundance, insecurity, peace, frustration, love, or doubt. The circumstances around you may change from day to day, but the state you repeatedly occupy can become so familiar that it begins to feel like your identity. The powerful decision you can make is to stop allowing circumstances to choose your state for you. Instead, consciously decide who you will be today. If you wake up and immediately look at your problems, you may enter a state of worry before your day has even begun. You see what is missing and allow it to determine how you feel, but you can interrupt that pattern. Before checking the outside world, turn your attention inward and ask, asterisk, how would I feel if I were already living the life I desire? Asterisk, perhaps the answer is peaceful, perhaps confident, perhaps grateful, secure, loved, or free. Whatever the feeling is, begin practicing it now. You do not need to wait for circumstances to give you permission to feel good. If you always require external proof before entering a positive state, you give your power away to circumstances. Instead, practice becoming familiar with the emotional state you want to experience. If you want abundance, think from abundance. If you want confidence, carry yourself from confidence. If you want peace, return to peace even when the world around you is noisy. Take a slow breath and say, I choose peace. I choose confidence. I choose abundance. I choose love. Asterisk, I choose possibility. Then pause and feel the meaning of those words. Choosing a state does not mean pretending that challenges do not exist. You can recognize a difficult situation while refusing to let it become your identity. You can say, this is happening right now, but it does not define who I am or what is possible for me. That distinction is powerful. A circumstance is an event. A state is the position from which you respond to that event. When you consistently practice your chosen state, your reactions can begin to change. You may become calmer under pressure. You may notice opportunities instead of immediately seeing obstacles. You may speak with greater confidence. You may make decisions that reflect self-respect rather than fear. Your external behavior begins to align with your internal identity. Imagine beginning each morning as the person you desire to become. If you were already confident, how would you walk into the day? If you were already abundant, how would you think about opportunities? If you were already secure, how would you respond to uncertainty? If you were already loved, how would you treat yourself? Then practice those qualities now. You are not waiting for life to change before you become that person. You are becoming that person now. When doubt appears, gently return to your chosen state. When circumstances tempt you to react from fear, breathe and remember what you decided. You may need to choose again many times throughout the day, and that is perfectly fine. Every return strengthens the new pattern. Eventually, the state you consciously practice can begin to feel natural. So, today do not ask only, asterisk, what do I want to happen? Ask something deeper, asterisk. Who am I choosing to be while it unfolds? Choose peace, choose confidence, choose abundance, choose love, choose possibility, and allow the state you repeatedly occupy to become the foundation from which you experience your life. One of the most powerful ways to reshape your inner world is to stop imagining your desire as something distant and begin experiencing it inwardly as though it has already been fulfilled. Most people look at their current circumstances and then allow those circumstances to determine what they imagine for the future. If things are difficult today, they imagine more difficulty tomorrow. If they feel unsuccessful, they picture continued failure. If they feel uncertain about love or abundance, they repeatedly imagine the same uncertainty. But you can reverse this pattern. Instead of allowing the present to dictate your imagination, use your imagination to create a new inner direction. Close your eyes and ask yourself, asterisk, if my desire were already fulfilled, what would I see, hear, and feel? Do not worry about the exact path that would bring you there. Go directly to the end. Imagine the moment after your desire has become real. Perhaps someone is congratulating you. Perhaps you are looking around your life with gratitude. Perhaps you are speaking to someone you love and feeling completely secure. Perhaps you are waking up with the peaceful realization that something you once hoped for is now part of your everyday life. The scene does not have to be complicated. In fact, a simple scene can be more powerful because you can return to it easily. Choose one short moment and experience it from within. Do not imagine yourself watching a movie about your future. Imagine that you are actually there. Hear the words, notice the surroundings, feel the emotions. Let yourself experience the relief, gratitude, confidence, or joy that naturally accompanies the fulfilled desire. Suppose you want financial abundance. Instead of repeatedly thinking, I need more money, imagine the feeling of having your needs comfortably met. Imagine yourself looking at your finances with relief and saying, asterisk. I am so grateful that everything is taken care of. Asterisk. If you desire a loving relationship, imagine experiencing the warmth and security of being deeply valued. If you desire success, imagine receiving the confirmation that your goal has been accomplished. The important thing is the feeling of completion. You are training your attention to become familiar with a different possibility. At first, your imagination may feel like imagination. That is perfectly fine. Do not demand immediate evidence. The purpose of the exercise is to change the inner experience you repeatedly return to. When you imagine the end consistently, you begin becoming more familiar with the emotional state associated with your desired outcome. This can also change the way you approach your day. Someone who repeatedly imagines themselves as confident may become more willing to speak, create, apply, learn, or take opportunities. Someone who imagines themselves as worthy of love may become less willing to accept relationships that contradict that belief. Someone who imagines abundance may begin noticing possibilities that fear previously hid from them. Your imagination does not require you to ignore practical reality. You can still take sensible action, make plans, and respond to circumstances. But your actions can now come from a different inner foundation. When doubt appears, return to your imagined end. When circumstances seem unchanged, return to your imagined end. When fear asks, Where is the evidence? Remind yourself, asterisk. I am choosing what I will repeatedly experience within. Practice this in the morning and again before sleep. Let your mind become quiet. Enter your chosen scene. Feel it until it becomes familiar. Then release it without desperation. You do not have to chase the future. You can begin by experiencing it within. So today, stop asking only, asterisk, when will it happen? Instead ask, what would I feel if it were already done? Then enter that feeling. Imagine the end. Feel the fulfillment and allow your inner world to become familiar with the reality you desire. Your life can begin to change when you become conscious of the assumptions you carry about yourself. An assumption is a belief you repeatedly accept as true, often without questioning it. You may assume that success is difficult, that money is hard to obtain, that relationships always end badly, or that you are somehow not capable of achieving what you desire. These beliefs may have been formed through past experiences, other people's opinions, or repeated disappointments. But an old assumption does not have to become your permanent reality. You can recognize it, release it, and deliberately choose a new one. Begin by listening to your inner conversation. What do you automatically say when something goes wrong? Perhaps you think, of course this happened to me, or nothing ever works out. These statements may seem harmless, but when repeated again and again, they can become familiar mental patterns. Your first task is simply to notice them. You cannot change a pattern you refuse to see. When you recognize an old assumption, do not criticize yourself. Simply say, asterisk, this is an old story, and I do not have to continue telling it. Then replace it with a new assumption that reflects the person you want to become. Instead of asterisk, I am always struggling, choose asterisk, I am learning to live with greater abundance. Instead of asterisk, I am not good enough, choose I am worthy, capable, and continually growing. Instead of asterisk, nothing ever changes, asterisk, choose my life can change in ways I cannot yet see. Instead of asterisk, I always fail, choose I learn, improve, and move forward. The new assumption should not simply be something you say once. Return to it repeatedly until it becomes familiar. Think of it as planting a new seed in your mind. You do not plant it and then immediately dig it up to see whether it has grown. You give it attention, patience, and consistency. This is where imagination becomes useful. If your new assumption is, asterisk, I am confident, imagine yourself behaving confidently. See yourself speaking clearly, making decisions calmly, and trusting your abilities. If your assumption is, asterisk, I am abundant, asterisk, imagine yourself feeling secure, grateful, and open to opportunities. If your assumption is, asterisk, I am loved, imagine yourself experiencing healthy, respectful, meaningful connections. Feel the new assumption rather than simply repeating the words. You may still encounter circumstances that appear to contradict your new belief. That is when persistence matters most. Do not allow one difficult moment to pull you completely back into the old identity. Pause and remember what you have chosen. You are not required to deny what is happening. You are simply refusing to make it your permanent conclusion. Your past can explain where certain beliefs came from, but it does not have to determine where you go next. You can choose a different interpretation of yourself. You can choose to see yourself as capable rather than powerless, growing rather than stuck, abundant rather than limited. Every time you consciously replace an old assumption with a new one, you strengthen a different mental direction. So today, become aware of the beliefs you have been carrying. Ask yourself, asterisk, does this assumption support the life I want? If it does not, release it. Choose again. Choose thoughts that strengthen you. Choose beliefs that expand you. Choose assumptions that reflect the person you are becoming. and then persist until the new assumption no longer feels like something you are trying to believe, but something that feels increasingly natural within you. You are not obligated to remain loyal to an old story. You are allowed to write a new one. Changing your subconscious mind is not about having one powerful thought and expecting everything to transform instantly. The real transformation comes through persistence. What you repeatedly think, imagine, feel, and assume can gradually become familiar. And when a new state becomes familiar, you no longer have to force yourself to think from it. It begins to feel natural. This is why you must continue returning to the identity and reality you have chosen, even when your present circumstances appear unchanged. At first, confidence may feel like something you are practicing. Abundance may feel unfamiliar. Peace may seem difficult when your circumstances are stressful. But do not mistake unfamiliarity for impossibility. Every mental pattern was once unfamiliar before repetition made it natural. If you have spent years expecting disappointment, it may take time to become comfortable with expectation. If you have spent years criticizing yourself, self-love may initially feel strange. That is perfectly normal. Your task is to persist. Each morning, return to your chosen state. Close your eyes and imagine yourself already experiencing what you desire. Feel the relief, feel the gratitude, feel the confidence. Then carry that feeling into your day. You may encounter something that triggers the old version of you. Perhaps someone criticizes you. Perhaps a plan fails. Perhaps you receive unexpected news. The old pattern may immediately say, asterisk, see, nothing is changing. But this is the moment when your persistence becomes powerful. Pause, breathe, and choose again. Say, I do not have to return to the old story. Asterisk, I choose my new state. I remain confident in what I am becoming. You do not need to fight the old thought. Simply stop feeding it and return your attention to the new one. Imagine two paths. One path represents everything you have repeatedly believed about yourself in the past. The other represents the person you are becoming. Every time you return to the new assumption, you are strengthening that new direction. Every time you refuse to automatically accept the old belief, you create more distance from it. Persistence does not mean obsessing. It does not mean checking constantly for evidence. It does not mean forcing yourself to feel positive every second. Participations means returning again and again. If you fall into doubt, return. If fear appears, return. If circumstances discourage you, return. If you forget, simply begin again. There is no failure in beginning again. Before sleep, this practice can become especially powerful. Allow your mind to become quiet. Release the events of the day. Enter the feeling of your desired reality. Imagine one short scene that implies everything has worked out. Hear yourself saying, asterisk, I am so grateful. Feel the peace of completion. Then allow yourself to rest. Do not worry about whether tomorrow will provide immediate proof. Let the new impression settle within you. Over time, the state you repeatedly practice can become increasingly familiar. You may notice that you respond differently. You may become calmer. You may expect better possibilities. You may recognize opportunities more easily. You may stop reacting automatically from fear. The change becomes less about trying to control your subconscious and more about becoming conscious of what you repeatedly accept. So remain faithful to the identity you have chosen. If you want to become confident, think from confidence. If you want abundance, practice thinking from abundance. If you want peace, repeatedly return to peace. If you want love, treat yourself as someone worthy of love. Persist until the new state feels natural. And remember, You do not need to become a completely different person overnight. You simply need to repeatedly choose the person you are becoming until that identity feels like home. Now take a deep breath and allow everything you have heard to settle within you. You have learned that your subconscious mind is not something you must fear or fight. It is something you can consciously influence through repetition, imagination, feeling, and assumption. You do not have to continue rehearsing the same old story. You do not have to keep repeating the beliefs that kept you small. You do not have to allow yesterday's circumstances to become tomorrow's expectation. You can choose again. You can imagine again. You can believe again. And every time you return to your chosen state, you strengthen it. When doubt appears, return to confidence. When fear appears, return to peace. When scarcity appears, return to abundance. When the past speaks loudly, remember that the future does not have to repeat it. Say to yourself, I choose what I repeatedly believe. I choose what I repeatedly imagine. I choose what I repeatedly expect. I am becoming the person I desire to be. Remember that transformation does not always happen in one dramatic moment. Sometimes it happens quietly, one thought at a time, one assumption at a time, one morning at a time, one night at a time. Eventually, what once required effort can become natural. Confidence can become natural. Peace can become natural. Abundance can become natural. Self-belief can become natural. So protect the inner world you are creating. Be mindful of what you repeatedly say to yourself. Be mindful of the stories you keep rehearsing. And whenever you notice yourself returning to an old pattern, simply pause and choose again. You are not required to be perfect. You are only required to persist. Tonight, before you sleep, return to the feeling of your desire already fulfilled. See it, feel it, accept it, then let yourself rest. And tomorrow, begin again. Because your subconscious is always receiving impressions, give it an impression worthy of the life you desire. Give it hope, give it confidence, give it love. Give it abundance. Give it a new vision. And let that vision become increasingly familiar. Your inner world is where your transformation begins. Choose wisely, imagine boldly, feel deeply, persist faithfully, and allow your new assumption to become natural. Thank you for spending these moments with me today. Thank you for giving yourself the opportunity to slow down, turn inward, and consciously choose a better story for your life. If this message gave you a sense of peace, confidence, or possibility, return to it whenever you need to reconnect with your chosen state. Make this practice part of your daily routine. Listen in the morning, reflect throughout the day, and before sleep, return to the feeling of already being the person you desire to become. If this video resonated with you, support the channel by liking this video, subscribing, and turning on notifications for more powerful teachings, affirmations, and manifestation content. And if you know someone who needs to hear these words today, share this message with them. Remember, your past is not your permanent identity. Your circumstances are not the limit of your imagination. Your thoughts can change, your assumptions can change, and you can choose a new inner direction. Go into your day with confidence. Protect your mind. Choose your thoughts carefully. Imagine the life you desire. And most importantly, persist in the feeling that a better life is possible for you. Thank you for listening. Stay peaceful. Stay focused. Stay faithful to the vision within you. And remember, the change begins within. Turn to the feeling of your desire already fulfilled. See it, feel it, accept it, then let yourself rest. And tomorrow, begin again. Because your subconscious is always receiving impressions, Give it an impression worthy of the life you desire. Give it hope. Give it confidence.